Due to the injuries he received from the land of tea, Sasuke is stuck in the hospital recovering. Meanwhile, Shikamaru gets promoted to Chunin by Tsunade, acknowledging Shikamaru's tactical and genius-level intellect. Later, Tsunade starts the surgery on Rock Lee. Angry that Naruto has continued to get stronger, while he is still not strong enough to defeat his brother Itachi, Sasuke challenges Naruto to a fight when he and Sakura come to visit him. Naruto accepts, and the two head to the roof. After exchanging a series of attacks, Naruto forms his Rasengan as Sasuke prepares his Chidori. The two then rush towards each other, with Sakura screaming for them to stop. As Naruto and Sasuke are about to clash, Kakashi appears and deflects them into water towers. Admiring the damage his Chidori has done to his water tower, Sasuke believes himself to be stronger than Naruto. After closer inspection, he finds Naruto's tower to be completely destroyed on one side, and only comes to envy Naruto's strength even more. Kakashi is amazed that Naruto has learned and mastered the Rasengan, and realizes it must have been Jiraiya who taught it to him. Later, Kakashi berates Jiraiya for teaching Naruto the Rasengan, stating that the technique was too powerful for Naruto to handle and that it could have killed Sasuke. Jiraiya rebuffs by stating that Kakashi should not talk, as he had taught Sasuke the Chidori, and Sasuke's Chidori could have killed Naruto. Jiraiya also states that he should have not taught Sasuke such a technique, since Sasuke is hell-bent on revenge. Kakashi likens the relationship between Naruto and Sasuke to that of Jiraiya and Orochimaru, adding that Naruto views Sasuke as his greatest rival, while Sasuke cannot handle Naruto's growing strength and admirable progress. Later, Kakashi ties Sasuke up to talk to him, and lectures him about not attacking his comrades. Kakashi advises him to abandon his quest for vengeance, but Sasuke states that Kakashi would not understand until the day when he loses everyone important to him. Kakashi tells Sasuke that everyone closest to him has already been killed, and adds that the Chidori is not a tool used against a comrade. He tells Sasuke that despite their mutual losses, they are both lucky enough to find friends to fill the void. Kakashi then leaves Sasuke to make his judgment call. Sasuke contemplates whether to accept Naruto and Sakura as his friends, or to continue on with his goal of killing Itachi, when he is confronted by the Sound 4, sent by Orochimaru to retrieve Sasuke. Meanwhile, Sakura asks Naruto out on a walk, in order to tell him about the cursed seal that Orochimaru had placed on Sasuke during the Chunin exams, as Naruto had been unconscious and was unaware of it at the time. Sakura remembers that Kakashi had told her that he had handled it, but is worried nonetheless about the cursed seal affecting Sasuke. Sasuke briefly battles with the Sound 4 members, though they quickly gain the upper hand. After, they explain that they were once on Sasuke's level, but they admit they got stronger once joining Orochimaru. They extend an invitation to Sasuke to accompany them to Orochimaru's lair. After doing so, they leave, allowing Sasuke to consider the matter. Eventually, the appeal of gaining strength is too much to turn down, and Sasuke makes his way for Konoha's exit. On his way, he meets Sakura, who realizes that Sasuke is about to turn his back on the village. She pleads with him to stay, telling him how much she loves him, even offering to help him with his revenge. Unfortunately, she is unable to convince him. Sasuke's cryptic last words before swiftly knocking her out and departing are, "Sakura, thank you." When Sakura wakes up, Izumo and Kotetsu find her lying on the bench. She tells them about Sasuke's defection, and the two inform Tsunade. Tsunade orders them to summon Shikamaru, a newly promoted Chunin. Unable to send higher-ranking ninja after Sasuke, Tsunade orders Shikamaru to assemble a team of genin under his lead to go after Sasuke. He first recruits Naruto under the recommendation of Tsunade, and then later, Choji and Kiba. After rounding them up, he invites Neji Hyuga and Rock Lee, who they find talking together. Neji joins, while Rock Lee chooses to stay behind to recover from the surgery. After rounding up all the genin he could find, Shikamaru quickly devises the optimal formation for the group. Before they leave, Sakura interrupts, and pleads Naruto to make sure to bring Sasuke back. Naruto promises to do so, and the group set out. As the first step in gaining power, Sasuke's cursed seal must be advanced to its second state. For this to happen, the Sound 4 seal Sasuke into a barrel, and carry him from Konoha as his seal advances. They are confronted by two nearby Konoha ninja, Raido Namiyashi and Genma Shiranui, but they eventually defeat them with their cursed seals. After carrying Sasuke for ways, the Sound 4 take a break, giving the recently caught-up Retrieval team a chance to try a sneak attack. Eventually their presence is detected, and the Sound 4 attacks them before they can make a move. After being caught by Sakan and Yukon's explosive tags, Shikamaru decides to ask the Sound 4 if they could simply talk it out rather than fighting. However, this is a ruse so that Naruto, Kiba, Akamaru, and Choji could attack. Kidomaru manages to ensnare all of them, using his spider webs before they can launch a counterattack. Kiba drops a smoke bomb, despite Kidomaru stating that it was futile since they were all trapped in his webs. Shikamaru, however, manages to trap them with his shadow imitation technique, explaining that he had attempted to get caught just so that he could have trapped them. Sakan manages to free the Sound 4 out of Shikamaru's shadow, and Jirobo immediately traps them with his Earth Release Barrier, Earth Prison Dome of Magnificent Nothingness. Shikamaru berates himself for getting his team caught in such a trap, while Kiba attempts to break his way out, using his Passing Fang technique. Kiba manages to create a huge dent in the wall, only for the wall to heal itself. Neji notices that the dome is imbued with chakra, and that it will heal any damage done to it. On top of that, their own chakra itself is being absorbed by Jirobo. Shikamaru asks Jirobo if he could free their team in exchange for them not pursuing Sasuke. When Jirobo refuses, Shikamaru then asks if Jirobo could free just him in exchange for the lives of his teammates. This infuriates both Naruto and Kiba, but Neji and Choji realize it is nothing but a ruse. Choji starts eating, much to the dismay of Naruto and Kiba. However, Choji tells them to remember what Shikamaru had told them before setting off on their mission. He told them that as team leader, he would be ready to lay down his life for the mission, and that he was also responsible for the lives of his teammates. Neji adds that when Kiba first attacked the dome, Shikamaru was paying attention to the damage Kiba was causing, and how some parts of the dome healed slower than the others. He goes on to further explain that Shikamaru trying to sell the team out was just a ruse, in order to determine where Jirobo's location was. Proving Shikamaru's theory right, the wall Jirobo was feeding off of had the strongest chakra lining, whereas the opposite side had the thinnest, meaning it was the weakest part of the dome. Shikamaru asks Kiba if he could try causing damage to the dome again, and Kiba agrees. Transforming Akamaru into a beast human clone and using the 4 legs technique on himself, the pair perform their Passing Fang technique, causing damage all around the dome. Shikamaru asks Neji to pinpoint the slowest healing point of the dome wall and to throw a kunai there to mark the spot. After he does so, Shikamaru tells Choji to break the wall, as Neji states that only powerful taijutsu can destroy the dome. Choji uses his human bullet tank technique, and manages to break through the dome, freeing the entire team. Choji volunteers to stay behind and deal with Jirobo, to give the rest of the team a chance to catch up to the other Sound 4 members. As the team goes on, Choji eats the first of the Akimichi's 3 colored pills, increasing his strength. Doing so proves enough to overpower Jirobo, forcing him to advance his cursed seal to its first level. With Jirobo now having the upper hand, Choji takes the second Akimichi pill. With the second pill in his system, Choji uses the super multi-size technique to dramatically increase his size before throwing himself upon Jirobo. To escape the crushing weight of Choji's increased bulk, Jirobo advances to level 2 of his cursed seal, giving him the strength to lift Choji and toss him aside. Outmatched, Choji considers taking the last pill. While all of the pills he had taken thus far were harmful to him, the third almost completely guarantees death to the user. Faced with death either way, Choji takes the pill, allowing him to easily overpower and kill Jirobo. His battle won, Choji begins to follow his friend's path, but falls unconscious before making it very far. When the Retrieval team catches up with the Sound 4, they are quickly caught in Kidomaru's spider webs. As Kidomaru is about to finish off Naruto, Neji frees himself from the webbing and saves the rest of his team. Deciding to deal with Kidomaru himself, as his gentle fist techniques are the only able to sever Kidomaru's spider webs, Neji instructs the others to go on without him. Kidomaru manages to shield himself from Neji's attack, and flees to the safety of the neighboring trees. Deciding to attack Neji from a safe distance, Kidomaru advances his cursed seal to its first level before sending multiple spiders to attack Neji from his personal summon. Neji is able to repel them all, with both his 8 trigrams, 64 palms, and the advanced 8 trigrams, 128 palms, although Kidomaru notices a delayed reaction in some of Neji's blocks. He theorizes that Neji's defense has a blind spot, so he continuously attacks at different angles. His theory is proven correct when Neji is unable to block an attack. Kidomaru throws multiple projectile weapons at Neji, stabbing him in the back. Despite this, Neji is able to stand up. Kidomaru, prepared to finish Neji once and for all, enters into the second state of his cursed seal, and fashions himself a bow and arrow, in an attempt to strike at Neji's blind spot once more. After advancing his cursed seal to its second state and creating a bow and arrow with his webs, Kidomaru begins shooting arrows at Neji's blind spot. Neji is able to block or evade the attacks enough to keep them from hitting vital areas, but is still left heavily damaged from each of Kidomaru's attacks. Ready to finish the battle, Kidomaru prepares his most deadly arrow, and fires it at Neji. Neji takes the arrow at full force, but is able to move at the last second to keep the arrow from piercing his heart. With Kidomaru's arrow connected to him by a web thread, Neji sends his chakra into the thread, paralyzing Kidomaru. As Kidomaru falls, Neji manages to use the last of his strength to catch up to him, and attack with his 8 trigrams 64 palms, hitting not only Kidomaru's Tenketsu chakra points, but also his internal organs. As his injuries are too severe, Neji collapses, leaving the retrieval of Sasuke up to the others, while Kidomaru's heart fails and kills him. Back in the Sound Village, Orochimaru is in immense pain, as his arms are bleeding profusely. Kabuto tells Orochimaru that he will die unless he takes over someone else's body, even going as far as offering his own. But Orochimaru claims that Sasuke is the only vessel he will take. Kabuto, however, tells Orochimaru that it doesn't look like the Sound 4 will bring Sasuke in time, and that he must take a new vessel quickly before he dies. Kabuto then releases all of the prisoners who he and Orochimaru experimented on, and promises to release only one of them. The prisoners then fight each other to the death, so that the sole survivor may be granted freedom. Kabuto then goes to check on Kimimaro, a loyal follower of Orochimaru, who is terminally ill and thus bedridden. It is revealed that Kimimaro was the original vessel for Orochimaru, until he was afflicted with his disease. As he no longer has any purpose for Orochimaru as his vessel, Kimimaro believes his existence has lost all meaning. However, he finds himself a chance to redeem his existence when he decides to devote his remaining lifespan to ensure that Sasuke, Orochimaru's future vessel, is brought to the Sound Village. Meanwhile, the Sasuke recovery team is catching up to Tayuya and Sakan and Yukon. Kiba and Akamaru decide to wait until it's dark to ambush them, but Shikamaru states that they will be fumbling blindly in the dark while also giving up their positions, thereby giving the enemy the advantage. On top of that, Shikamaru would be unable to use his shadow imitation technique. Despite Kiba's protests, Naruto states that they need to trust in their team leader's plan. After fighting each to the death, Genyumaru, the sole surviving prisoner, is chosen to be Orochimaru's new vessel. Orochimaru promises to grant him one wish before taking his body, and Genyumaru asks if Orochimaru could stop performing experiments on the members of his clan. Orochimaru gives his word to Genyumaru before using his living corpse reincarnation technique to take over Genyumaru's body. At the same time, Kimimaro leaves the Sound Village to retrieve Sasuke. As Tayuya, Sakan, and Yukon run through the forests, they wonder what is taking Jirobo and Kidomaru so long to catch up. They stop after Tayuya notices a kick from within the container Sasuke is in. Before she can check on it, she spots Naruto watching them from a tree branch. As she guards the container, Sakan and Yukon try to take down Naruto, only to be ambushed by Kiba and Shikamaru. As Sakan deals with those two, Naruto uses his shadow clone technique and prepares his Rasengan. It turns out that Kiba and Shikamaru are none other than transformed shadow clones, and Naruto tries to hit Sakan with his Rasengan, only for Sakan to grab his hand and dispel the technique. The real Kiba then uses his passing fang to go through Naruto, who is revealed to be just a shadow clone, in an attempt to hit Sakan. Sakan easily jumps out the way, but Kiba keeps going, heading towards Tayuya. Realizing that she was the intended target all along, Tayuya attempts to grab the container containing Sasuke and flee, only to be trapped in place by Shikamaru and his shadow imitation technique. Kiba manages to cancel his passing fang right before he hits Tayuya, and grabs the container and tosses it to Naruto. Sakan, who is plummeting towards Kiba, is unable to change his trajectory and heads towards Tayuya. Shikamaru cancels his technique, just before Sakan hits Tayuya, avoiding getting injured himself. The team then take the container and flee, only for an incensed Sakan to activate his cursed seal and go after them. As Sakan chases Naruto, Shikamaru, and Kiba, Akamaru has been setting traps using explosive tags. After getting hit by one, Sakan retaliates by trapping Akamaru, who is standing next to an explosive tag. Kiba jumps down to save Akamaru, and Sakan heads after Kiba. As the tag explodes, Sakan, Kiba and Akamaru both plummet off the end of a cliff and fall down. Before Naruto and Shikamaru can further assess the situation, Tayuya comes after them. However, she stops her attack when she instantly notices Kimimaro, who has snuck up behind Naruto and Shikamaru. He manages to kick the container containing Sasuke off the tree branch, goes after it and catches it. Telling Tayuya that she has disappointed Orochimaru, he wishes to kill her. However, he tells her he will refrain from doing so as she has a duty to perform. Taking Sasuke with him, Kimimaro instructs Tayuya to eliminate Naruto and Shikamaru. As they cannot let Sasuke get away, Shikamaru and Naruto devise a strategy. Naruto and Shikamaru rush toward Tayuya, but Shikamaru pulls back at the last second while Naruto soars over Tayuya. As Tayuya stands there confused, Shikamaru attempts to trap her using his shadow imitation technique, but Tayuya manages to avoid being caught just in time. However, Naruto manages to get away, and follows Kimimaro. His anger towards the Sound 4 and Kimimaro causes him to release some of the Nine-Tails chakra. Naruto manages to catch up to Kimimaro in a clearing, and the latter is surprised to see that Naruto possesses much more chakra than most. Naruto demands to know why Orochimaru wants Sasuke. Kimimaro explains that Orochimaru wishes to live forever, while his soul can live forever, his body cannot, therefore Orochimaru must need new host bodies to use as vessels. Angered that Orochimaru is planning to take over Sasuke's body, Naruto uses the Nine-Tailed Fox's chakra to produce 1,000 shadow clones. Back in the forest, Tayuya mocks Shikamaru's leadership, believing he has sacrificed a member of his team every time they engage one of the Sound 4 one-on-one. Shikamaru states that he does not believe any of his team members are dead, and tells Tayuya not to insult them. Tayuya responds by summoning 3 giants, whom she controls with her demonic flute. At the same time, Kiba is fighting Sakan, who manages to kick Kiba away. As Tayuya guides her 3 Doki after Shikamaru, she activates the first level of her cursed seal to control them easier. Meanwhile, Naruto begins his battle, creating a great deal of shadow clones to attack Kimimaro. Kimimaro, however, easily defeats the clones. As the fight between Kiba and Akamaru versus Sakan and Yukon rages on, Yukon pushes his cursed seal into its second level. Recognizing the huge increase in strength that this allows, the brothers, Kiba and Akamaru combine to become a giant double-headed wolf. The combined beast charges towards Sakan and Yukon, and bisects them. However, the brothers' internal organs create new legs and arms. Kiba and Akamaru charge at them again, though the brothers are able to use summoning, Rashomon to block the attack. As the wolf transformation disperses, Akamaru is attacked and left heavily injured, but Akamaru manages to pee acidic urine into Sakan's eyes. Sakan goes to wash his eyes in the river, while Yukon merges himself with Kiba's body. Needing to get rid of Yukon to save Akamaru, Kiba stabs himself in the stomach, causing him and Yukon to start coughing up blood. Yukon separates from Kiba, and rejoins with Sakan so that he can recover. Kiba finds Akamaru, and the two flee downriver, hoping to escape the brothers. Naruto, meanwhile, is unable to make a dent in Kimimaro, and his shadow clones are still rapidly defeated before they can land a single blow. Elsewhere, Shikamaru believes to have picked up on the movements of Tayuya's creatures, though she quickly has them switch actions before Shikamaru can act. Despite Tayuya's efforts, Shikamaru devises a plan to defeat the creatures. Using his remaining kunai and shuriken to distract her and her giants, he triggers a flash bomb he had planted above her. The light from the flash bomb extends his shadows long enough for him to trap all 3 of her creatures with his shadow imitation technique. He then tells her that he will be using her very own pawns against her, but Tayuya doesn't seem to care. Shikamaru tells her to at least arm herself, and she tells him that her flute is her only weapon. Shikamaru and her creatures charge at Tayuya, but Tayuya is able to dispel her creatures. Shikamaru voices his frustration, causing Tayuya to laugh at him for thinking he had a chance. However, just as she attempts to kill him, she finds herself trapped by Shikamaru's shadow imitation technique. He tells her that, just like in a game of shogi, the first move is always a fake-out, whereas the second move is the final strike. Trapped and unable to move, Tayuya advances her cursed seal to its second state, to use the strength and chakra it provides to break free of Shikamaru's shadow imitation technique. Shikamaru attempts to hold her in place with the advanced shadow neck binding technique, which seems to work, but while her body is kept bound by his jutsu, her fingers are free to move, and she uses her flute to place Shikamaru within a genjutsu. As the genjutsu causes Shikamaru to scream in pain, Tayuya picks up one of Shikamaru's kunai knives, and rushes towards him to kill him. Just as she gets close, Shikamaru punches her in the gut. Wondering how he got out of her genjutsu, she notices that he had manipulated his shadow to break his own finger, and used the pain to break out of her genjutsu. Shikamaru then uses his shadow neck binding technique on her again, telling her that the closer he is to his target, the tighter the bind his jutsu inflicts. As Tayuya berates herself for her carelessness, Shikamaru reveals that it was all according to his plan. Once Tayuya revealed that her flute was her only weapon, he knew that once she thought she caught him, she would need to arm herself to kill him, and that she would pick up that kunai closest to her and come near him to finish him off. As Naruto starts getting frustrated with his lack of progress, Sasuke's cursed seal finally reaches its second level, allowing him to exit his coffin. Sasuke's appearance snaps Naruto out of his Nine-Tails mood, and he tells Sasuke to return home with him, stating that everyone is waiting for him in Konoha. Sasuke does not comply or respond, instead cackling rather madly, which leaves Naruto enraged. Sasuke leaves the enclosure with Naruto attempting to follow, although Kimimaro prevents Naruto from going after Sasuke, intending to kill Naruto. Luckily, the arrival of the newly recovered Rock Lee blocks Kimimaro's attack, and saves Naruto. Lee tells Naruto to go after Sasuke, reminding him of his promise to Sakura. Lee and Kimimaro begin exchanging blows, though Kimimaro's unique control over his bones makes things difficult for Lee. On top of that, Kimimaro finds Lee's moves to be predictable. Soon after the fight begins, Lee asks for a timeout, so that he can take his medicine. Kimimaro lets him, and Lee drinks the contents of his medicine bottle. Back in Konoha, Guy returns from his mission, and rushes to the hospital to ask Tsunade how Lee's operation went. Tsunade tells him it was a success, and that Lee could begin training as early as tomorrow, only for two aides to rush in and claim that Lee is missing. Tsunade realizes that Lee must have gone after the Sasuke recovery team in order to help out. She also realizes that Lee took a bottle of sake instead of his medicine, which causes Guy to freak out. Guy explains that even a sip of alcohol turns Lee extremely inebriated, and reveals that when he is not sober, Lee can be very dangerous and devastating, since he is a natural master at the art of the drunken fist. Back at the clearing, Lee drinks the sake and becomes inebriated. He assumes the drunken fist stance as he prepares to take on Kimimaro. In his drunken form, Lee's movements are too unpredictable and unorthodox for Kimimaro to match. Lee manages to block and counter every one of Kimimaro's attacks. Lee resorts to feigning tactics, such as falling asleep spread-eagled, and he manages to land a hit with his eyes closed and even manages to overpower him. Realizing that Lee is drunk and is using the drunken fist, Kimimaro resorts to using his Kekkei Genkai in order to snap Lee out of it. Kimimaro's tactics work, as Lee sobers up after having his face cut by one of Kimimaro's bones. Back in the forest, Shikamaru's shadow, neck-binding technique starts to slowly give way as his chakra runs out. Shikamaru likens this to the previous time his chakra ran out during the Konoha Crush, in which he was saved by Asuma Sarutobi. Thinking there is no one to save him now, Shikamaru prepares himself for the worst. Meanwhile, Kiba and the wounded Akamaru make their way out of the river and hide behind the trees. However, Sakan disguises his scent using Kiba's jacket and catches the two. At the same time, the now sober Lee decides that he needs to resort to hard-hitting tactics to take down Kimimaro, and decides to open the first gate and use the front lotus. Kimimaro manages to use the density of his bones to absorb the full effect of Lee's lotus kick. Kimimaro then attempts to drill his bones into Lee, only for his bones to be blocked by sand, which dispels Lee backwards. The sand manages to cushion Lee's fall. Kimimaro demands who his new opponent is, and Lee is shocked to see that it is none other than Gaara. In the forest, Tayuya is about to finish off Shikamaru, when she is hit by a powerful gust of wind, caused by none other than Temari. Meanwhile, Sakan is about to kill Kiba with a kunai, when his attack is blocked by Kankuro, who uses Karasa to shield Kiba. The three Sand siblings announce themselves as shinobi allies of Konoha, and prepare to help their former enemies in combat. Kankuro moves to fight Sakan and Yukon, and reveals a new puppet. He then moves his puppets into play, and captures the brothers, quickly killing them. Elsewhere, Shikamaru details Tayuya's abilities to Temari, which the Sand ninja finds to be no problem at all. She is easily able to deflect Tayuya's sound-based genjutsu with her giant folding fan, and then summons Kamatari, which cuts a path of destruction, leveling the forest and killing Tayuya with ease. In the field, Gaara stands before Lee, and uses his sand to deflect attacks fired by Kimimaro in their direction. Gaara arrives just in time to save Lee's life. He mentions that Lee isn't as fast or agile as he was before, and remembers the injuries he inflicted on Lee during the Chunin exams. Not wanting Lee to get hurt, Gaara uses his sand to pull Lee back and tells him to sit the fight out. Gaara uses his sand to fight Kimimaro, which prompts Kimimaro to attempt to destroy Gaara's gourd, as he believes it is the only source of sand Gaara possesses. Gaara, however, uses the sand on the ground to restrain Kimimaro, and then uses his sand drizzle technique followed with a sand binding coffin, although Kimimaro avoids being crushed to death due to his bone density. Gaara decides to use his sand waterfall funeral to attempt to crush Kimimaro again, though by activating his cursed seal, Kimimaro survives the attack. Calling upon a greater amount of sand, Gaara uses his quicksand waterfall flow to create a sand tsunami, and then uses his sand waterfall imperial funeral technique that not only smothers Kimimaro but levels the terrain as well. To both Gaara and Kimimaro's surprise, the latter survives the attack. Gaara mentions to Lee that Kimimaro's eyes remind him of Sasuke's, claiming that both eyes are that of a person who seeks to find the purpose of their existence. Stuck within the sand, Kimimaro reminisces on how he was raised in the darkness, imprisoned in a cell because of his Kekkei Genkai, only being let out to fight. The clan's patriarch used him as a weapon in an attempt to take down the Hidden Mist village. Kimimaro was tasked with the sole objective of killing any ninja from the Hidden Mist. After killing all of those in his way, Kimimaro discovered that the entire Kaguya clan has been slaughtered as well. Feeling lonely and without a purpose, Kimimaro wandered on his own, until he was found by Orochimaru, who took him in. Kimimaro believes that his sole purpose in life is to protect Orochimaru and his goals, hence why he hasn't died yet. Going into the second state of his cursed seal, Kimimaro breaks free of the sand, and lunges toward Gaara and Lee. Meanwhile, Naruto continues to chase Sasuke in an attempt to convince the former Leaf Ninja to return to Konoha. Kimimaro manages to tackle Gaara, whose sand cushions his fall. His armor of sand also absorbs the damage of Kimimaro's strike. Lee decides to use this opportunity to perform an attack behind Kimimaro, though Kimimaro is able to avoid it and nearly kills Lee in the process, but Gaara manages to save him. Realizing that in his current physical state that he is nothing but a burden, Lee relents and allows Gaara to fight alone. Kimimaro pulls out his spine and uses it to restrain Gaara. He then transforms his right hand into a bone drill, in an attempt to bore through Gaara and kill him. Gaara manages to use the hardest minerals in the ground, and fuses it into the sand with his chakra to summon his absolute defense, Shield of Shikaku, which is hard enough not only to prevent Kimimaro's bone drill from boring through, but to shatter the bone completely. Gaara realizes that Kimimaro's technique is a Kekkei Genkai, and Kimimaro tells him that it is a trait that belonged to the Kaguya clan, and that he is the last of the clan. Gaara tells Kimimaro that the Kaguya clan will end today with Kimimaro's death, although Kimimaro states that he will continue to live on within Orochimaru. Gaara remarks that Orochimaru has brainwashed Kimimaro well, and that the latter is nothing but a pawn. Almost depleted of his chakra, Gaara dispels his shield of Shikaku, while also using the sand around him to release himself from Kimimaro's spine grip. Using his last remaining chakra, Gaara uses his prison sand burial technique to swallow Kimimaro and sink him 200 meters underground under tight pressure. Enraged at Gaara's remarks about him being nothing but Orochimaru's pawn, Kimimaro uses his ultimate technique, which causes thousands of bones to emerge from the ground. Gaara manages to save his and Lee's life by elevating them with his sand. Gaara states that he is out of both strength and chakra, while Lee remarks that at least he managed to kill Kimimaro. Right on cue, Kimimaro sprouts from one of the bones with a bone drill in hand, prepared to kill Gaara for his remarks regarding Orochimaru. However, before he can kill Gaara, Kimimaro's terminal illness gets the better of him, and he dies. Gaara and Lee manage to descend to safety, with the former contemplating how lucky he was. Lee mentions how Guy once told him that a shinobi makes his own luck, prompting Gaara to accidentally insult Guy, and call him a meddlesome fool. Lee states that while he is grateful to Gaara for saving his life, he will not tolerate any insults geared towards his sensei. Gaara tells Lee that both he and Naruto have that in common. They have people who they care about so much, that any attack to that person is an insult to them. Gaara also wonders whether it is better to care and protect an evil person, rather than to remain lonely, realizing that that is exactly what Kimimaro had done. Meanwhile, Naruto manages to catch up to Sasuke at the Valley of the End. Naruto asks Sasuke if he is willing to turn his back on all of his friends in Konoha, for the simple matter of getting stronger. Sasuke says yes, and starts to walk away, enraging Naruto. Determined to bring Sasuke back to his senses, Naruto grabs hold of him and gives him an echoing punch. Sasuke, who appears to feel no pain at all from this, spits blood on Naruto's face, and Naruto resolves to bring him back to Konoha by force if he had to. Sasuke grabs Naruto by his shirt, raises him up and easily punches Naruto several meters backwards, with the power of his cursed seal, inflicting several times more pain than his own attack. Naruto attacks Sasuke, but is quickly kicked back into the water, and gets one of his weapon bags stolen. He creates some shadow clones, which are easily defeated by Sasuke. Naruto tries throwing shuriken from a distance, but is no match for Sasuke's superior skill with the tools. Using the wire strings from Naruto's bag, Sasuke traps him, tying him up to a rock skillfully, and ignites the wire with flames, scorching Naruto with a burst of fire. Naruto rises from the flames unharmed, and hits Sasuke's face, but to Naruto's surprise, he acts unharmed, which intimidates Naruto. Naruto lands several blows on Sasuke's face, but even as his blood falls to the ground, he remains the same. Sasuke laughs, and tells Naruto that he's not even using his Sharingan. Angered, Naruto attacks again, but is blocked and pushed off of the top of the statue. Both falling off, Sasuke ruthlessly beats Naruto to the ground easily, where he stays down and tosses the bag of ninja tools to where Naruto lies. Sasuke begins to remember his childhood and his reasons for becoming obsessed with power. Sasuke's childhood was spent living in his brother's shadow. Being the prodigy of the clan, Itachi received all the attention from their father, leaving Sasuke to live his life trying to earn his father's recognition. Itachi, aware of Sasuke's efforts, did what he could to redirect some of their father's attention to Sasuke, but saw little success. In time, the members of the Uchiha clan began to suspect Itachi of being a murderer, and Itachi started openly attacking and disrespecting the clan. Naruto rises from Sasuke's attack and taunts him to use the Sharingan. Naruto creates shadow clones to fight him, but they're taken care of in a matter of seconds. Sasuke then uses the Great Fireball technique. As his recollection of his childhood continues, Itachi's respect in the Uchiha clan began to falter. As such, his father started taking a more active interest in Sasuke's development. To give Sasuke proper membership into the clan, his father taught him the Great Fireball technique, which he eventually mastered after constant practice. As Sasuke spent more time with him, his father told him not to follow in Itachi's footsteps, and to find his own way. Finally getting recognition, Sasuke put even more time into training, determined to become better than Itachi. Having trouble with his Shuriken jutsu, Sasuke asks Itachi to help train him as his brother heads out the house. He replies that he's busy, before tapping Sasuke's forehead. Watching him leave, Sasuke is glad to receive such affection from his older brother. Later, he asks his father about Sharingan, wanting to master it as well. His father tells him about the Mangekyo Sharingan, that only 2 members of the Uchiha clan have possessed so far. He tells Sasuke that it is activated only under very specific circumstances. Back in the present, Naruto hides behind a bush while Sasuke coaxes him about his naivety. He lands multiple punches and a final crushing blow to Naruto's ribs, before he's plummeted into the water beneath them. As Sasuke's remembrance of his childhood draws to a close, Sasuke returned home from the Ninja Academy one day, to find all the members of the Uchiha clan murdered. Upon finding his parents' bodies, Sasuke discovered Itachi to be responsible for the massacre. Using his Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi showed Sasuke their parents' deaths, causing Sasuke to run with fright. Itachi stopped him, but told him that he wasn't worth killing. He informed Sasuke that if he wanted to get revenge for the clan, he would need to get stronger. To help Sasuke gain the strongest ability of the Uchiha, Itachi tells Sasuke the requirements to obtain his own Mangekyo Sharingan: he must kill his closest friend. With that, Itachi left, leaving Sasuke to build a hate for his brother. Resolving to get stronger, Sasuke decided he would do whatever was necessary to kill Itachi. Returning to the present day, Sasuke and Naruto resume their battle, with Sasuke stating that Naruto is his closest friend, and that he must kill Naruto to achieve the power needed to kill Itachi. Kakashi learns of Sasuke's defection and goes after him. Using his dog summoning technique to track his scent. Meanwhile, believing Naruto to be his closest friend, Sasuke prepares to kill him, finding the loss of Naruto to be an acceptable price for the Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto's Rasengan and Sasuke's Chidori clash. Though neither is capable of overpowering the other, and they both are sent back flying. After recovering from the blow, Sasuke states that if 2 ninja are of a high enough level, they can read each other's minds by exchanging blows. Activating his cursed seal in order to gain the upper hand, Naruto, who would appear to be putting next to no effort at all in defending himself, has brief flashbacks about how he was happy to meet Sasuke, and begins to wonder if they ever truly had a bond. Sasuke uses his Chidori for the final blow through Naruto's heart. Naruto deflects it, but it goes clean through Naruto's right lung instead. While Sasuke thinks the battle is won, the Ninetales chakra begins to envelop Naruto, and the wound Sasuke inflicted starts to heal. When Sasuke asks what he is, Naruto tells him that he's his friend. Infused with the fox's strength, Naruto states that he's not willing to let Sasuke leave, and that he will break every bone in Sasuke's body to bring him back to the village. With that, Naruto attacks. The two fight, and Sasuke struggles to counter Naruto's increased speed and strength.
Fire style!
After a severe beating, Naruto pins Sasuke against the rock wall, and asks him if he has come to his senses yet. Sasuke tells Naruto that he could not possibly understand what it feels like to lose his whole family, because Naruto was alone from the very beginning. Naruto admits that he knows nothing about parents or siblings, but he thinks of Iruka as a father, and he wonders if his relationship with Sasuke is similar to having a brother. Naruto states that to protect this bond, he will stop Sasuke no matter what. Sasuke resists Naruto's appeals, and says that it is too late for him to go back. He puts on his forehead protector and calls for Naruto to come, saying that he will break the bonds of their friendship. A third Tomo appears in Sasuke's Sharingan, signifying that it is now fully mature. Naruto asks Sasuke why he's bothering with the forehead protector if he seeks to break his bond with him and the rest of Konoha. Sasuke explains that he recognizes Naruto as an equal, though he once again taunts that Naruto won't even be able to scratch his forehead. Elsewhere, Kakashi catches up to Pakun, and the two hurry to stop Sasuke and Naruto.
Come!
Naruto and Sasuke resume their battle, but this time Sasuke has the upper hand, harnessing the full power of the Sharingan.
Clear! With vision like this,
Naruto uses a chain of shadow clones to throw Sasuke into the cliff wall. But Sasuke counters with fire release, dragon fire technique. A half-conscious Naruto again implores Sasuke to stop, but Sasuke declares it is too late and as a finishing move, pile drives Naruto into the ground below. Inside Naruto's subconscious, the nine-tailed fox says that Naruto is too weak, and that the boy should be thankful to him. Seemingly defeated, the fox's red chakra begins pouring out of Naruto, who slowly gets up and punches the shocked Sasuke. Naruto grows a chakra tail, makes a very fox-like stance, and attacks Sasuke once more. Sasuke struggles against Naruto's onslaught, and notices that the red chakra seems to have a mind of its own.
fire style! Fireball jutsu!
Sasuke laughs, and says that Naruto has given him no choice but to use the second level of his cursed seal. As the seal transforms his body, Sasuke's hair grows longer, his nails extend, and his skin turns gray. He acknowledges that Naruto possesses a special power, but says that he is more special. Sasuke, having activated his cursed seal of heaven level 2, laughs and arrogantly tells Naruto he has a feeling he will not lose. Enraged, Naruto charges at Sasuke, and the two clash, sending up a cloud of debris. When the dust settles, Naruto is shocked to see a giant wing coming out of Sasuke's back, which has deflected his attack. Sasuke extends the wing and sends Naruto shooting towards the opposite side of the river. A second wing tears through the back of Sasuke's shirt, and he groans in pain. He remembers Sakon's warning not to use the fully released cursed seal for too long. Knowing that his body will erode if kept in this state, Sasuke tells himself he hasn't any time to waste. Naruto stands, his left hand completely immobile. He realizes the nine-tailed fox form is taking a toll on his body, which Sasuke happily notices as well. Sasuke tells Naruto that they are fighting in the Valley of the End and that it is the perfect stage for their battle. Sasuke envisions Itachi's distorted Sharingan, which drives him to form Chidori a third time. Naruto straightens up and forms a Demon Fox Rasengan using only his right hand, as his left hand is still out of commission. The strength of Sasuke's Chidori increases, becoming a flapping Chidori. Deciding it is time to put an end to the fight and their history together, both ninja charge at each other with their ultimate techniques. They collide in an explosion of blue and red chakra that forms a swirling black sphere of energy. At the last moment, Sasuke chooses to punch Naruto in the chest rather than impale him with the Chidori. Likewise, Naruto only scratches Sasuke's forehead protector, disproving the boy's earlier taunt and minimizing the effects of the Rasengan. Getting closer, Kakashi senses the massive chakra, and tells Pakkun to hurry. Naruto and Sasuke are left hovering within the sphere, gazing sadly at each other. A vision of a younger Sasuke and Naruto shows the two form a seal as a symbol of friendship, and they smile at each other. The bright light then slowly dissipates, and as it fades away, Naruto is shown lying on the ground, unconscious with Sasuke standing above him, revealing that Sasuke has emerged as the victor in their fight. Sunlight breaks through the clouds, illuminating the two boys, and focuses to a point on Naruto's face before it disappears altogether. Sasuke stares down at Naruto, while Sasuke's own scratched forehead protector loosens and falls to the ground, presumably confirming that Sasuke has severed ties with Konoha. As it begins to rain, Sasuke is racked by a sharp pain in his arm, and falls to his hands and knees, looking Naruto straight in the face. A while later, Kakashi arrives at the scene, but Sasuke is nowhere to be found. Kakashi slowly picks up the fallen Naruto, apologizes for not making it in time, and acknowledges what must have been Naruto's desperate effort to save his friend. Sasuke walks through the forest, assailed by memories of his parents and brother. He again recalls Itachi's last words to him, that to unlock his Mangekyo Sharingan, he must kill his closest friend. Back at the waterfall, Pakkun and Kakashi discuss the irony of Naruto and Sasuke fighting at the Valley of the End, and the never-ending battles of the ninja world, which, like the river, will go on forever. Naruto slowly opens his eyes, revealing Sasuke's choice to leave without killing him. Returning to Sasuke in the forest, the boy asserts that he will not do as his brother bids, and that he will obtain power in his own way. Sasuke then walks into the darkness. The rain stops, and Kakashi and Pakkun head for home, Kakashi carrying Naruto on his back. A mysterious man in an Akatsuki cloak rises from the ground, and notes that things have become interesting. The Retrieval team was brought back to Konoha where, despite the severity of their injuries, all managed to fully recover. When Naruto wakes up, he apologizes to Sakura for not managing to keep his promise, and failing to bring Sasuke back. Sakura says she doesn't mind and still thanks Naruto for wanting to fulfill his promise to her in the future. Afterward, Jiraiya offers Naruto a chance to leave with him for 3 years to train. Naruto accepts, and Jiraiya tells him they will leave whenever he is ready. Elsewhere, Sasuke arrives at Orochimaru's lair, where he soon proves himself worthy of Orochimaru's guidance. Meanwhile, Akatsuki assembles, as they discuss that they'll be ready to start their long-awaited mission in 3 years' time. As Naruto prepares to leave for his training with Jiraiya, the other genin discuss the future, and resolve to train harder, so as to keep up with Naruto. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Have a great day.